Trish Robichaud here at MS Relief for my weekly weight loss for wellness session with Dawn Silverstein, intrinsic nutrition and health coach. And this week we're going to be following up on last week. Hi, Dawn.
Hi Trish. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
And now,
I'm interested to hear how your homework assignments worked out.
well, the God box is right here. It's at the touch of my hand all the time. I also pulled out some stones that I have that just make me feel good when I touch them. And,
Great.
One is amethyst, I guess, and quartz.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, and the other one is, it's brown, so it might be like some kind of tiger eye kind of thing, but it's a quartz stone as well. But anyways, they make me feel good. They're just smooth, like river-worn, kind of smooth rocks. And those are really great touchstones for me. And my God box is right here. I have not rewritten my appeal note to God yet. But I'll get there. Post-it notes, no, didn't do the post-it notes. Did do the music.
Great. So what does that do for you as far as, what does that do for you? I mean, apart from you love the song and it feels good.
Feel young. It's one of those tunes for me that, like, when it comes on the radio in the car, I'm always hoping, I'm alone when that happens. So I can crank the tunes and put the window down a little and the breeze in my hair, and on a beautiful sunny day, that is, and I'm actually visualizing it right now, okay? The feeling that I have in my heart when I've got the music cranked and the sun is shining and I'm driving down the road, it's about as close to joy as I ever get.
That's amazing.
Yeah, music really touches me. And if it's a song...
So how is that going to keep you on track with your goal when you play that for yourself? What's the connection there?
I feel empowered. Like I'm really...
Okay, great.
When that feeling comes over me, there's I can do this feeling, no matter what it is. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So how did the decluttering go? You had a little challenge there, and then you were going to declutter the kitchen so you could declutter your desk. There's sort of a domino effect going on.
Well, the good news is, it's not a good thing when I start with that, eh? The good news is the kitchen table got decluttered and the kitchen got completely decluttered, and that's very good news. But the bad news is, here's the pile. It's still in the pile.
Okay.
Now, today, I have about 4 hours off this afternoon, and the kitchen table is clear, so I'm going to take that into the kitchen.
Awesome.
But I have to, and I'm going to take care of that today, period.
Great.
I had some stuff get in my way this week. I had a follow-up appointment with my doctor. I've had a couple of tests done recently because of some unusual things going on. And, I found a lump in my breast.
Oh.
And so I had an ultrasound, and now I have to have a biopsy.
Okay.
So that's kind of really thrown a huge monkey wrench into my week.
Yes.
And in the same appointment, I found out that they have found something else wrong with my heart.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't even looked up what it is. It's she says I have a blockage, but it's not a vascular blockage or arterial blockage. It's not got to do with blood pressure and blood flow. It's the blockage is electrical.
Okay.
All right. And it's like 50% blocked, and she said, and if it gets worse, then they'll have to do something about it.
Mm.
I didn't even have the wherewithal when I heard that to ask what would they do about it. Like, what,
okay.
I
know nothing about hearts and things or electrical issues.
She wrote down what it is for me. It's called a partial right bundle branch block. So one of my homework pieces this week is to research that and find out what that means.
I'm sorry to hear that, and that's certainly disturbing and upsetting, and hopefully you'll have answers really quickly so that you don't have to do the what if and go to the dark place.
Yeah, the unknown
about
is
stuff.
Fun.
So how is that affecting how you're eating? Because you were on a pretty good path. Is this disrupting? How is it? Is it disrupting it in any way? Is it affecting it in any way?
Absolutely.
In what way?
And this is my typical pattern.
Mm-hmm.
For months, I can be keeping on a healthy path, and then something will happen to derail me emotionally, and then it can take me. Well, in the past, it might have taken me weeks or sometimes months to get back on track.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I'm really grateful that I have you in my life at the moment, Dawn, because you're gonna help me not get derailed, or even, giving me the space to derail from time to time, but giving me the courage to put the train back on the tracks.
Right.
Okay, so that's the piece I'm going to need help with. In fact, I'm not even going to go to preventing me from derailing. Okay, because that's just a given; it's going to happen, right?
So what happens when you derail? What's your go-to food?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Let me see. First of all, the appetite awareness exercise sheets are great.
Okay. We can talk about that. But if you feel like that's too much for you to handle right now, considering what's going on,
no, I think
we will discuss that.
A certain amount of structure that's going to help me.
Great.
And
then let's talk about that form first, because we talked about it a little bit last week about how you're gauging your level of hunger and your level of fullness without the actual food, just checking in with yourself. So have you actually been doing that?
I didn't start until a couple days ago.
That's fine.
Excuse me. And when I first encountered the form and looking it over, I found it a little intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's connected to the clarity of the form. No, I don't think so. I think it was my emotional charge around around even quantifying,
Yes.
A feeling of hunger or fullness, right? And then the form also asks you to, anytime you eat, it also asks you to decide whether you're in a negative emotional place or a positive emotional place. And doing all of that, like, it was initially really difficult for me. When I finally started using the form as it was intended, it's actually a little cathartic,
Good. Because you can't overthink it, and maybe that's sort of what was going on too, because then there's...
Yeah, because I'm a perfectionist.
It sounds like there was some fear there.
Yeah,
like if
absolutely.
Yeah. What was the fear about?
Documenting.
Yeah. Because what would that mean if it's documented?
It just takes me back, because all the years, my mom had tried to, And all the years that I tried to diet, it was like you had to write down everything you eat, and and you had to, like, how many calories and all of that. And I find that very, very emotionally draining doing that.
Yes.
But I didn't realize until I really started using the form that I don't even have to write down what I'm eating, right?
No.
So it's not about the food, right?
It's not about the food.
It's just about where I'm at with my appetite and where I'm at emotionally. So once I totally, grasp that, then it's been easier. And
Good.
Okay, so the reason why I brought the appetite awareness sheet up in connection with your question, that how have I responded to this news in terms of what I'm eating? I can tell you that it was really, really yesterday, okay? No, it was the day before yesterday. I went shopping when I was already hungry, which was not a good thing to begin with.
Right.
But I found myself, I bought a banana cake, okay? You know, flat cake with the beautiful banana icing on it, and I brought it home, and I started nibbling on it with a fork, okay? Because you don't even bother cutting a piece, you just reach in there with a fork. And I think I probably went through about, let's say, a quarter of the cake, and it was like a 9x9 size, right? So I went through about a quarter of the cake. And and then my son-in-law was here, and my son-in-law and my daughter, they live downstairs. They rent our basement apartment. Anyways, so he was upstairs for some reason, and I said, you know what, Richard, do you like banana cake? And he said yes. And I said, please do me a favor and take that cake home with you. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
good for you.
Yeah, and I knew that was
good.
Okay. And then
now, why did you do that? Because you're doing the appetite awareness sheets, it's keeping you more present? Like, what's the connection there?
Giving him the cake was about putting my train back on the tracks.
Awesome.
I have always had, and there I just do it when I use the word always. I have a tendency to do the all or nothing thinking, right? So in the past, if I wasn't being filmed to broadcast online with my weight loss journey, I might have proceeded to eat the rest of the cake. Okay?
Right.
But maybe not, because I know that as I contemplated giving it away or not, I definitely went to thinking, wow, I've lost 40 pounds, and I didn't do it by just plowing into that cake,
right.
That I have to make, I'm making different choices, right?
Good.
And and I even find sometimes in the grocery store I'm doing the same thing.
That's great. Because if it's not in the house, you can't eat it.
Yeah. And
so
when I pick something up, and I'll think, is this going to contribute positively to the journey I'm on, or is this going to derail my journey?
Yes. Right? That's a really important question to ask yourself. Really, really important.
It's really helping, Dawn. It's really helping.
Good.
So yesterday, I was outside hanging out with Ernest. He's building a gazebo. Wow, it's going to be so beautiful.
Oh.
I'll have to upload pictures. Yeah, we have these 2 50-foot pine trees in the backyard, and he's building it right between them. So it's going to be in the shade of these big, beautiful pine trees.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah. Anyways, I was just hanging out with him while he was working, and I really enjoyed doing that. Ernest enjoys working, and you can, you can't watch a man work and enjoy it when he looks like he's not enjoying it, right? It's just not fun.
Right.
But what, like this, my husband he just, you put a tool in his hand and that's just in his zone, and big pile of dirt, even better, right? But, oh wow, a big pile of lumber. Like, he's found there. He's in the joy zone, right? Anyways, so I was hanging out with him, and Richard came out, and he brought out some baked goods. And he knows that I'm on a weight loss journey, but I don't know that he gets that, you know, about the whole addiction piece, and that I can't just have one, you know what I mean? Anyways, and I had just finished having a conversation with Ernest about my further test results needed and what's going on with my health and the doctor's results and whatever. And so guess what? I had a piece of pastry, but it had its role. It had a purpose at the time, because I remember as I was eating it, I was thinking to myself, what benefit am I getting from this right now? And what purpose is it serving? And so you've got me really thinking about, even when I'm eating, you know, like the whole appetite awareness is just so cool. So if I'm aware that I'm not really hungry, then there's then I have to further analysis I have to do, you know?
Right.
So as I was eating it, like it was like an apple Danish kind of thing. Anyways, and being aware as I was eating it of how it felt in my mouth and how it made me feel and what was going through my mind as I was eating it. And a neon sign said, this is a distraction. It was like I hit, and I know that was the nail on the head. The flavor, the chewing, the act of consuming the food was a distraction from thinking about what the doctor had just told me.
Right. Yeah. And how did you feel afterwards, too?
And that was the second shoe, right?
Yeah.
I had this awareness that this was a distraction, but then the second shoe dropped, and I said, and I knew that the minute I swallowed, that the thing that I was trying to distract myself from is going to be back.
Right.
Okay? So it was only a temporary distraction, and that cost me probably 300 calories.
Right.
Okay?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a very analytical person, right? So I have to, it boils it down to like, was that distraction worth 300 calories? Well,
it's a good question.
No. On the average day, it's no. Yesterday, it was worth it because I got a totally new message from it. I got the enlightenment.
It served a purpose.
Yeah, I got the enlightenment that it was a distraction, right?
Right.
So it served its purpose. Now the second Danish, that wasn't part of the plan.
It's a process.
Exactly. Yeah.
Baby steps,
yeah,
you know.
Exactly.
Because you're going to weld all of those epiphanies together, and it's going to make you stronger.
Yeah.
But you have to start somewhere. So I think that's great, and I want you to keep doing that. I want you to continue using the forms, especially right now when you're going through a very emotional time, just to keep you present and aware. And make sure, you know, also consider that because you do have these health concerns, the food that you're eating has an effect on your health. So you want to be in the best place possible. So that, you know, it's part of the incentive also is it's really a very immediate concern. You have your 3-month goal and your 6-month goal, but you also have an immediate concern.
Yeah.
So to keep that in front of you as well. Now, I know we only have a few minutes, and I wanted to talk about part of that 3-month goal, or that 3-month goal is the walk around your block. And we need to talk about how you're going to start training for that. Because you're not just going to that day get up and walk around your block.
Yep.
So how you tell me what you feel would be practical and doable and reachable in the next week as far as walking outside.
I think that I think that I need to make a more consistent effort on doing my biking in the house before I even think about walking outside. The walking outside, there is definitely a fear factor involved for me, because it's partly about how far can I walk, and am I going to walk so far that I can't walk back?
You can't get back.
Exactly.
What's your house situation? Do you have like a walkway to your sidewalk in front of your home?
There's basically a sidewalk all the way around the house because we have the back entrance, which is to the basement apartment. So we do have we have a walkway around the house. But I do have a fairly deep backyard. So
but I want you to start setting up this this visual. If the goal is to walk around the block, I want you to start walking out your front door, even if it's 10 steps out your front door and 10 steps back inside. And then, you know what I mean? Like, so that you're eventually heading in. I want you to start heading in the direction you're going to go.
Okay.
Because walking around the backyard or walking around the house is good, but it's not really training you for that moment in 3 months when you're walking around the block.
Okay.
And I also want you to be able to gauge, like, okay, I walked the 10 steps out, and that's 20 steps. And then you can say, okay, I walked, 25 steps. And now you're going to have a visual of how far that's getting you down your street so that we can discuss what's, if it's still a reasonable goal.
Okay.
Okay, because you're not going to know if you're not actually training in the environment.
Okay. All right.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yep. And at the very least, I can walk to the road and back. I mean, I can walk.
That's fine.
I can walk to the car and get in it. So
exactly.
I should be able to,
Right.
Yeah.
So that's something that has to start happening every day. Because, these are more baby steps, but you need to weld all of those efforts together so that you can have a better assessment of your own strength. Okay, so that's your other homework. You're going to still do these appetite awareness forms. You're going to bike more often, put it on your calendar, put it in your schedule, and then you're going to start walking however far you can every day and track it so that, we both know how far you're getting.
Should I... Sorry,
It doesn't have to be a number of steps, too. It could be like, I walked to the second tree, or, whatever the visual markers are for you in your neighborhood that makes sense to you.
Okay. I think somewhere around here I think it's called a pedometer.
Mm-hmm.
I think somewhere around here I have one.
Well, and the pedometer is okay, but I think I don't want you to get too attached to how many steps, the number of steps. To me, it's more about the actual visual markers in your neighborhood.
Okay.
Because I think that's more important than the number of steps for this particular goal.
Okay. Visual markers.
Because you are a visual person.
Yeah.
So. And I just think that you're also an analytical person, and you can latch a little bit too much onto the number.
Yes.
More than how far you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how does that sound? Is it, are these doable homework assignments?
I will, excuse me, smacked my microphone again. Okay, I'm going to sort my tray.
Yes.
And I'm going to biking daily. I've been getting probably about 3 times a week, but I think I need to really ramp that up.
All right. Well, let's just say 4. Do 4 times in the next week, and because you're also going to be walking outside a little bit.
I think I'm going to cut it back to 5 minutes instead of 10, and I'm going to shoot for daily. Because since I've been telling myself it's okay to do it like 3 or 4 times a week, it's easy to slip to 2 or 3. But if I tell myself daily and I get 5 out of 7, then I'm laughing, right?
That's awesome. Okay, so daily for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then start walking and tracking the visual markers for yourself outside.
Yep, I'll do that. And continuing with the appetite awareness sheets.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm glad you're already seeing a benefit there. That's great.
Yeah.
So thank you for embracing that. That's a really big step.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dawn. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Wisdom. We'll see you next week. And those of you, thanks for joining us here at Weight Loss for Wellness. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.